Good morning, retail traders. This is Washboardjim with a sneaky snake trading strategy, and I want to talk about today's watch list and what to expect. We have Pow Pow again coming out today. Yesterday didn't sound that bullish. He didn't really say much. Just got to wait and see, wait and see, wait and see. I think we've waited and seen too long and too much. I don't know what the problem is, but the strategy that they're doing is not working. Sometimes history repeats itself, but we don't live back in 1970, and Jimmy Carter's not our president. Joe Biden is, so we're in the same kind of pickle that we were back then. A lot of tension around the world. We had Russia wanting to kill us at the time. We had Iran, had a bunch of hostages back during the Carter years, and here we are stuck in the same rut all over again. We need a new guy in the office and just get the word out and say, hey, this war's got to stop, period. And Trump's the man. We didn't have no wars under him, and we had genocides under Clinton, Obama, and Biden. So think about that. And let's go ahead and get on to the watch list. That's kind of geopolitical tension. I don't understand why the market's running up so high like it is. Irrational exuberance, which kind of tells me that we're real overextended in the bubble and the AI. So I'm going to come up here and talk about my watch list. Let me see if I can find it. This is a video that I did a few weeks back, about a month ago, on creating a strategy. Don't follow anyone blindly. So I'm going to put this link down in the bottom, and you can all go back and watch this video, and it just gives you kind of an explanation on how I trade, my strategy, and I think it's best. I created it all on my own. It took a long time to get there, but I finally got there, and I'm just trying to show how easy and simple it is to trade stocks. I've been at it for 20 years, and I've really caught on in the last 3 to 4. I've always been a good trader, but not an excellent trader, but now I know what I've been missing, and it's all about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. So let's go ahead, and I'll put this link down in the bottom of that video. Let me see here. So we're going to look at today's indices, see what's moving. We got the VIX moving up this morning around, hit a high of almost 15. The SPX pulled back into close yesterday. I kind of like that setup. I talked about it in the room, falling wedge, and I was involved in another ticker, and I drew this out, and then the damn thing popped on me and hit that 200. This is one of my trading strategies, snake, breakout into a falling wedge, and then runs up to the 200 and you exit the trade. It's that simple. This is on the 1 minute time frame, and you get out of the trade. Once it hits that 200, bam, you're out of the trade. So you got like a knife, create a pattern, which this one was a falling wedge. And if you go over here and look at this other pattern, the same kind of snake, I'll show you the pattern that goes after that. But we have a snake, which is the sell-off. Then it started to consolidate, created a wedge, a falling wedge, which is a bullish pattern, and run up and hit the 200. So I'm going to change time frames on this and put this on the 1 minute. This strategy is so simple. Once you understand how to trade it, you'll just say, God darn, what the heck was I missing here? So we got a snake, break out of the channel, pull back, created an inverse head and shoulders, boom. It's that simple. You got to study them patterns. So go back and watch that video I did. I'm going to put it in the link in below. It's going to describe exactly how I look at these things. But we have a snake, sell off in the morning, big J hook, which created a head. You have your left shoulder and you have your right shoulder. And boom, baby. She runs all the way up, pulls back and lands on the 63 EMA, bounces, holds support, and then finally gives up at the middle of the day. Look at NDX. Had a good sell-off the other day, and we talked about this one here. We have UVXY. If things start to get real ugly, I'd start looking at this one here, UVXY. IWM, the Russell, has been the worst performing one in the sector of the indices, and it's bounced back up and created a double top with a new high. But this one I called out, and all the other ones were running up. This one here was a lagger. So we're at resistance right now. I still think that we're irrational. I mean, we're way overbought for the situation that the world's in. China's in a deep recession. America is the only country you can go to that is a capitalist country. That's the only thing got us going right now, and plus all that money we've been printing. We printed $6 trillion in 3 years, and we printed probably 5 or 6 before that with COVID, bailing out the big businesses. So I'm going to look at the SPY. We do definitely have a breakout on the SPY. We're going to pull this up on a different chart. Here, I don't want to use that one. I got so many charts, I don't know what I'm doing here. This video is all backwards. It's not my best to feel like I'm not even here. God darn it. So we got a symmetrical flag here. I think we could come back and retouch this here area and retest the, I'm going to raise this alert up just a little bit to right about there. I want to catch this here consolidated area and get that alert when we come down here to a double bottom and try to see if that will hold. That is a descending pattern, but right now we're kind of symmetrical, which means it could go either way. We have a 1, 2, 3 right here on the SPY. So I'm going to stick with that 505.55 support area today and see if we can hold that. If not, we'll definitely drop down to this other support level, and I'll draw a trend line on it. Extend that out to the right. That should be your solid support. And that bounces right off that two-headed snake down here. So I'll raise this alert up just a little bit. There's 2 of them there, so let's get rid of those and create a new one right here. That's a triple top break. So triple top break, we'll break out and pull back and find support off that triple top, and that's what we're looking for with this pattern. Excuse me. Or it can come down here and we'll hit this here trend line down here. Yeah, definitely. The low support's going to be right around that 503.04 area, somewhere around 500. If we can hold that 500, then we'll continue the breakout pattern. If not, she has to drop. When she drops below 500, that's when you got to start getting a little bit worried. You might have a trade there too, but that 500, I think, is the focal point right now that we really got to focus on. It's just a number. It has nothing to do with the charts or anything like that. It's just 500. So that's what we got to kind of look for. Now let's go back to the watch list. Jimmy has no clue what's going on today. He really doesn't. So we're going to look at the volume high Yesterday I called out the TQQQ and the SQQQ. Nailed both of them. We had a triple bottom down here this morning on the TQQQ. And the SQQQ yesterday, another beautiful snake call. Snake, breakout, pull back, head and shoulders, boom. I'm telling you, this pattern shows up all the time. And if you just take a moment and relax and watch, don't paper trade. I mean, if you're having a real hard time trading, just paper trade this and you'll get the results. So we come in here this morning, SQQQ, and it has that huge breakout, and then the sell-off comes in. So we created a long snake. Then we have the breakout of the channel. They always pull back. Always. 98% of the time when they break out of this channel, they're going to pull back. So do not rush and take this trade. Let it fulfill its prophecy. So we've got the snake. We got a huge breakout. So we know this thing's bullish. And all of a sudden it starts to sell off. And we create this trend. And once it breaks out of the channel, we know that we're ready to take this trade, and we need to really start to watch it. So it comes down to the bottom of the channel. It creates an inverse head and shoulders. This is my favorite pattern of all time, besides the triple bottoms and the triple tops and the double tops. The inverse head and shoulders, I've been making a killing on it. So we got, this is on a 1 minute time frame. Now you might not see this on a 5 minute, but you will see it on a 1 minute. So we have an inverse head and shoulders. Snake, breakout, pull back, boom. The volume starts to come in because they know the strategy. Snake, now it's got our attention. We wait for the pullback and we take the trade off the inverse head and shoulders. That is it right there. That's the time you want to get in. Leading out with a hammer. Leading out with a hammer. Right there, and then you got a dragon butterfly. What am I saying? Dragon. I can't think of what I'm thinking. Like I said, my brain's halfway here today. I don't know what it is. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's just how simple that is. You come in the morning and you watch them trades and see if that doesn't repeat itself every single day. Here's another one. This is on the TQQQ. Right it open. Another little breakout. So watch this. We take and draw this out. Whoops. There's your snake, your sell-off. She breaks out of the trend. She pulls back every single time they pull back. 98% of the time they pull back after they break out. Do not take that trade once it breaks out. Let it pull back. Find support. Opens up with a hammer. Break out, pull back, and then it extends on up and starts to do its thing, starts to run up and hit resistance. Snake. God darn it. So you get your snake, break out, pull back. And where was that confirmation? Let's go to the 5 minute and just see something here. 5 day, 5 minute. I got to get on a different chart. Yeah. You can see it right here. This was your previous high right here after hours. Then it came back and it pulled right back to the yin yang, which gave it a solid support. So you knew that was ready. And then when it came back and retested that support level, boom. It's the simplest strategy you can ever think of. Just take the time, relax, start fresh. Snake, break out, pull back, boom. And that's it. I got to get to work. Thunderstorm outside, so we're going to get a lot of rain today here in Missouri. Let's see if we can do a couple more tickers here. I just want to really emphasize how easy it is. I mean, every single ticker will have the same kind of strategy. This one I called out yesterday. So we've got the same thing over and over and over and over. We'll clean this up. This is a totally different ticker. SMCI. So let's clear this drawing. So you're watching, I mean, I've been trading the heck out of this here stock, okay? So we've got the sell-off. It didn't hold the 200 SMA. Now it's got our attention. It's got our attention. So we want to draw in the channel. Every single stock will do this. So there's your snake, your channel. We have the breakout. Now we have the pullback, and we have the inverse head and shoulders. Take the body of that candle and run it up to the body of that one. So she's pulled back and created a head and shoulders. It could have pulled back and hit right here even and run down a little bit farther. But once it established that and broke that 200 SMA, boom, snake, breakout to the 200, pullback, boom. And this created what you would call a wedge. It's a rising wedge. It's bearish. A rising wedge is bearish. So it comes out of the channel, breaks out, pulls back, and creates a rising wedge, which you know is bearish. So you know you got to exit this trade. And it runs up and it creates a head and shoulders. And you know to get out of that trade once you hit that shoulder line. There's your head, there's your left shoulder, and your right shoulder. And then you have the 1, 2, 3, which you know, if you listen to me and you can count to 3, you can trade with me. And if you can count to 4, you might get a little bit more. So you had a triple top. You know now to get out of this trade. Unless you didn't do it the first time when you hit this head and shoulders. So you have an inverse head and shoulders and a head and shoulders. Snake, breakout, pullback, boom. It's that simple. And that's it. I just wanted to go through, and I've been trading with people that have traded a long time and still don't get it. And I'm trying to make it as simple and as easy as you can. Wipe out all the past and just kind of come in with the new and rebuild your own strategy. Now this is a pullback strategy that I use, and I use breakouts. I mean, if we had a gap up, I'd be looking for a pullback or whatever. And this is, let me see here. Oh, I know what I can do. Give me a second. I want to make this real simple. These are chart patterns. If you really want to learn how to trade stocks and you really want to be successful at it, Learn these patterns. That's all I can really tell you. Learn these patterns and only look for these patterns. And don't paper trade. Don't use real money until you have your own strategy. You got to have your own. You can't sit there and trade people blindly. You can get their alerts. You can get their ideas. Everybody has something good to tell you if you're a good trader or a bad trader. You pick up all kinds of stuff off everybody. That's why I like to trade with bad traders and good traders, because I learn from them as much as I learn from the ones that are very novice and experienced. I learn through their mistakes. I learn through my mistakes. And then it's just the way it's been for 20 years. I've been following rookies, not professionals. Clay Trader was one of the first traders I ever followed. Clay Trader. Then I've been in probably 8, 9 chat rooms. I've had 3 of my own. I was probably one of the first rooms that was ever out there back in 2004, 2007. We had a chat room way before StockTwits and all these other companies were coming out, Twitter and all them others. We were already doing the stuff, learning how to trade stocks back in 1994. But it took me a long time to realize that, I mean, I was always if it wasn't for probably listening to Clay Trader, always talking about support and resistance levels, that's got baked in my head, so that's how I started to trade. I wanted to trade off the support and sell at resistance instead of buy at resistance and have to take a loss. So anytime anything broke out, I just patiently waited for the setup and then boom, take the trade, or unless I think it's a big run. But learn these patterns. What you got to do is just come in here, Google bullish stock patterns, and you can get all kinds of trading ideas that are bullish and how you can learn how to get in a bullish market. Symmetrical flag, I talk about this all the time. Oh, the megaphone pattern, I mean, beautiful. Inverse head and shoulders. I mean, just simple little breakouts, pullbacks. You know, when something breaks out, it's going to pull back, create some kind of flag, or the vice versa. Something could be a little bit bearish. I talk about this trade a lot. This is the snake breakout, 3 black crows, higher low, boom. Snake, big long snake, breakout, pull back, created 3 black crows, higher low, which is very bullish. Boom, I know to take that trade right there. I know to take that trade right there. Because I know what 3 black crows mean. We had them right here, but I knew this thing was getting ready to do something. And then you had 3 white soldiers, which is a continuation run to the upside. And then if you got to look for bearish patterns. Recognize and learn what the bearish patterns are. You know, continuation, reversal, and reversal. Learn what these mean. They mean everything. If you learn these, I guarantee it, you'll be a profitable trader. You'll realize, wow, pennant flag. They always can go either way. I'm very careful when I trade a pennant flag, but coming from the downside to the upside creates a symmetrical flag, boom, going down, consolidates, and then has a pullback. Rising wedge. Inverted flag, which is bearish. Descending triangle, head and shoulders. Bearish rectangular. Now, this could go 50-50. You could come and create some kind of sideways pattern and hit the triple bottom and bounce up to the upside. So this one, I'm Darvis box. Then you got the symmetrical flag coming from the downtrend. Vice versa, if it's coming up to the uptrend, it could be squeezing. And then maybe 3 black crows right out of this flag would be an operation to run it back up to the pivot point in that flag. So yeah, I mean, candlestick patterns. Type in bullish candlestick. You learn these, I guarantee it, you will become a better trader, because I know I've been there. I can see the difference. I'm a musician. So you're playing with maybe 5 people in a band. All of a sudden you get Eddie Van Halen comes in and wants to play with you. He's sitting there strumming on the guitar, doing real good tunes, and all of a sudden you're starting to play rhythm with him, and you're going, damn, man, I've never sounded so good in my life. I'm really picking it up. We hit different plateaus. The musician will hit a different plateau and realize, wow, I just created a new level for myself, and I got to go back to my basics. And it's the same thing with stocks. That's why we got these small communities. You got a couple of real good traders in there, and then everybody's trying to follow and learn. And all of a sudden you start to realize, wow, I'm finally getting it. I'm hitting a different plateau. I'm understanding what he's trying to tell me. Buy at support, sell at resistance. Look for the inverse head and shoulders. Find the flags. Look at the candlesticks. Look at the volume. Listen to the news. Where are we now? So type in bullish and bearish candlestick patterns and start studying these things. Get you a little template or something. Learn the dojis. 3 candles. I mean, just great thing about the internet. Learn what causes these reversals on these snakes when they start to sell off, like a hammer or a morning star, which I call a spinning top, or an inverted hammer, or a tweezer bottom with the body of these candles. And once you understand the reversal, how they switch around and turn around on you, boom, baby, you start to understand what Jimmy's trying to say. What's a bearish candlestick pattern? What causes reversals? You can start to get some kind of understanding what candle to look for when you're looking for reversals. Well, I've talked way too much. I just want to try to emphasize it's easier than you think, and you got to erase, take a break, take a week off, come back refreshed, full of energy, and just start with a new strategy. Build your own that works for you. Mine is chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. And the chart patterns that I quite use, I use the TTM squeeze. And the new moving averages that I've been using here lately is the 200 SMA, the 50 SMA, the 63 EMA, the 21 EMA, and the 9 EMA. For example, I talk about moving averages. Let's say we didn't have a pattern here. Say we didn't have a pattern. Let's clear it all up. So we got the 9 and the 21. The 9 EMA and the 21 EMA. And we finally break out of that. 9 breaks down and pulls back. And so now we're bearish. All of a sudden we start to go above the 9 and we break the 21. And the 9 crosses the 21, which now becomes bullish. So we draw our little trend line. We know that the moving average now crossed over the 21. We want to draw this snake in. We have a 1, 2, 3, breakout, pull back, inverse head and shoulders. There's your head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Take the trade. And then we start to create another flag here, a little rising wedge, and we know that we're starting to get a little bit bearish. So as it starts to squeeze, and we break that channel, we get out of the trade. Snake, break out, pull back, rising wedge, get out of the trade. We have a head and shoulders right here. Take it to the right, get out of the trade. We hit the shoulder line, Jim. Should I get out of the trade? Hell yeah, get on out of there. Take that profit. You got a rising wedge, you know it's going to pull back. Better get on it, baby. Okay, I'm getting out of here. It's 4:34 and I got to get the job done. This is a sneaky snake trading strategy. I just want to emphasize how easy it is to trade if you just have the patience. One of the first lessons I ever learned in trading was patience. Patience with a big P. If you got patience, you can follow and learn and then paper trade and then understand what Jimmy's trying to say here. We got a left shoulder, head, right shoulder, boom. And it really just takes time. Just relax, enjoy the day, let it do its thing. And then all of a sudden when you start to break out of that channel, you know that you've got to pay more attention to the trade. 1, if you can count to 3, you can trade with me. It's that simple. 1, 2, 3, breaks out, pulls back, boom, into a rising wedge, which is bearish. Sneaky snake trading strategy, where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. Let's get out of that rut, and let's go ahead and refresh our minds. We're in a bullish market right now, and we're at a real high resistance level. So I'm in my prime. This is my best. I mean, this is where I love to trade. I love to trade at resistance because I like trading the pullbacks and catching the knives on good tickers. And I've got a watch list. It's got all these tickers on here. And I go straight to the volume. And then when the bell rings, I'll come up here and I'll look at what's red and what's green. And I'll take them trades. It's important that you carry a good watch list and have great stocks that are on that watch list. And just look at the volume highs, and they repeat themselves every single day. They're on here every day. Great volume trades. Watch list is very important. Here's Amazon. See, here's Amazon. Let's chart this out real fast. Let's go to the daily. So we've got a gap. They want to keep this above the gap. That's the first thing that pops in my head. Okay? We've got support basically off the 50. So we could hit the bottom of this gap. We could finally break the 21 and then fall down and land right here on this previous peak. I tell everybody it don't take a lot. A clear chart, you can understand where supports and resistance levels are. So these are going to be our 2 support levels. We're going to call it off the 50. We want to set an alert right up in here. Hear that thunder? It's going to get bad today. And then we'll set another alert right on top of this channel. And this is called a gap trade. Every chart kind of tells you something different. So you want to keep it above this gap. You want to use each one of these here moving averages as a support level. So we've got the 9, the 21 EMA, and then we've got this down here, which is the top of that gap. And this is the bottom of that gap, so you want to kind of keep it in there. So Amazon's very bullish, and I'm going to set an alert right up here above that 21. And then I'll go to the 20-day 1 hour. Beautiful. I love that spot. There's a head and shoulders. There's your head, your left shoulder, and your right shoulder. We could just go ahead and hold that position. We are below the 200 right now, so that gives me a little bit of worrisome. We could drop on back and pull and find a real solid support at 160.78, and I'd take that trade in a heartbeat. I probably would. That's inverse head and shoulders. That's a pattern. There's your pattern. Left shoulder, right shoulder. So if it doesn't hold this support, it could easily fall down into this Darvis box. We have a head and shoulders right here. So we want to draw that trend line across. Now, that's a solid support also, because here's your head, there's your left shoulder and your right shoulder, and then we finally broke out with a gap right there. Come up to that right shoulder again, and then finally broke out. So that could be a solid support also. I'm going to bring this up and move this back down over here to this, because that's top of a Darvis box. That's Amazon. Definitely on watch. I'm not in no hurry to take any trades. I'm going to wait and catch knives. That's what I'm good at. And this is the prime. This is my primest spot where I love being in. Unless we're at real cheap areas. You know, like when I called Amazon out 3 years ago. We had an inverse head and shoulders. This is my favorite pattern. I make so much money just on this one pattern alone. If you just knew how to trade this one pattern, you could probably catch a trade every single day. So there's your left shoulder, there's your head, and your right shoulder. Amazon from 89, we called this out. I said, man, this thing's cheap. People are laughing at me. I said, man, I'm telling you, this market's cheap. It's not that cheap anymore. We're up here at a triple top on a 3-year time frame, and we broke that resistance. Well, here, this is a weekly. Let's do this. Ah, darn it. So here's your left shoulder, your right shoulder, your head. Left shoulder, your head, it's a two-headed snake. And there's your right shoulder right here. So we've got some resistance. We can pull back and hit that 9 on the weekly and then run up and try to have a triple top. But if you do it my way, we already broke that triple top. And it has to pull back to here. It has to pull back to the 9 before I would probably take this trade on the weekly. So we're definitely going to be paying attention to that 168.56 off the 9. And if that doesn't hold, then we're going to wait for the 21 and then take it off the 21. Amazon. Retail traders, have a great trading day. I'm going to go out and get wet. You heard the thunder. We're tornado season in Missouri. If you've ever been in a tornado, it's a lot more scarier than a hurricane. Retail traders, where I talk about chart patterns, moving averages, and being in the now. And if you really want to learn how to trade, you really want to become a better trader, learn them chart patterns that I posted earlier in the room. It'll make the whole difference and make a whole difference out of how you trade. Learn these chart patterns. Learn the candlesticks. Figure out what candlestick patterns cause the reversals, and you will definitely become. You got to learn. You got to want to learn. We'll catch you later. Retail traders, have a great day.